So it was great to have Senator Marco Rubio on with us, especially on a day like this, and knowing that he's a member of the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence. And Senator, you were telling us in the break that you did have a chance to talk to the White House, first off on the Russia and what was said or not said to the foreign minister and the ambassador. What are they given? Did the president inadvertently give away top secret intelligence? What do you think? Where do we stand with that?
Well, first of all, I think these are important matters, whether it's this or the Comey news. And so before anybody rushes to judgment, we're not going to base our opinion solely on a news article. I'm not saying the news articles are wrong. I'm not saying that they're right. I'm saying that they raise an allegation. We have an obligation to look into them. But before we form opinions and advocate for action, we need to know what the facts are. So I didn't just speak to the White House. I spoke to one of the people that was in that meeting, and they vehemently and repeatedly denied that the president said or did anything that would have compromised U.S. intelligence, its sources, its methods, or our intelligence relationships around the world. There is no transcripts of the meeting, apparently. There are notes, and I would imagine that at some point here fairly soon, the White House should make those notes available to the appropriate committees.
Yeah, Senator Chaffetz sent out that letter saying, we want to see this memo or these notes if they exist.
Well, I think Congressman Chaffetz is asking for the memos by former Director Comey, and that's a separate topic that arose yesterday. And look, that's a serious matter. Again, we need to know the facts. And so I'm not telling you that the news articles are wrong. I'm telling you that if you're going to deal with something of this magnitude, shouldn't we at least have facts before us before we establish firm positions about what we're going to do next?
Before we go to the second topic, somebody did take notes. Russian President Vladimir Putin says his country is willing to give the U.S. records of President Trump's talks with the foreign minister and ambassador. He calls the controversy over intelligence schizophrenia. So I don't know if he took notes or if they taped it, but what's your reaction to Putin's statement?
Well, I wouldn't put much credibility into whatever Putin's notes are, and if it comes in an email, I wouldn't click on the attachment. That's for sure. And then on the going back to the director issue, look, it's inevitable now and inescapable. I thought he was going to have to do this anyway, but given what we read yesterday in the newspaper, Director Comey or former Director Comey will have to testify before Congress. I imagine it will be before the Judiciary Committee, and he's going to have to turn over these notes and anything else that he kept, and we'll go from there. But I don't know, unless you were there, no one knows entirely what happened. So we need to establish facts before we jump to conclusions. And whatever the facts are, I'm going to always do what's right for the United States of America first and foremost. But we need facts. We're not just going to make our opinion based on news reports, because even the news reports written by reporters are not first-hand accounts. They are the details given to them by sources. And sources come in all shapes and sizes on both sides of the debate. And sources try to spin reporters. And I'm not saying that's what's happening here. I'm just saying you cannot base it simply on that. Again, I am not denigrating the free media. I think the free media is important. They do a great service for our country when they report things. But our job is to arrive at the facts before we can reach conclusions, not to mention advocate for action.
Well, here's a fact. Everybody in Washington was elected to go there to get something done, including the President of the United States, Donald Trump. And it doesn't seem like much is getting done right now, aside from all these accusations about impropriety and stuff like that. But it does seem, Senator, like with all of the things that are coming out, it does seem like there's an orchestrated effort to try to stop Donald Trump's agenda.
Well, again, let's figure out what's happened first before I can opine about the intentions behind the people doing one thing or the other.
I'm talking about that's the net effect, is because all this stuff is out there, nothing's getting done.
Yeah, so on the major issues, obviously on Obamacare and tax reform and the like, there are people out here working on it every day, irrespective of all this. It most certainly has taken a lot of the media attention and public communications attention, but a great example, today there will be a hearing on my bill, a Veterans Accountability Bill, that will give the VA Secretary the power to fire bad employees, people caught, for example, watching pornography while on the job, etc. And that bill is going to pass out of that committee, and I believe it's going to pass out of the full Senate with bipartisan support. And it will pass the House, it already has, and it will be headed to the president's desk. So again, that's not going to get a lot of media attention today, but it's going to happen here in the next few weeks. And when it does, we're going to have a better VA, and it'll be better for our veterans. So that's the kind of thing that is not going to get a lot of coverage, right? But it's important, and it is things that are happening.
Well, we've been covering the VA.
We can do that and the other stuff.
We've been covering the VA diligently every single morning. So we appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, you were I loved your tweet, by the way. You tweeted recently a Bible verse, and a lot of us, when times are tough, we turn to the Bible. That's what a lot of Americans do.
I watch sports.
You tweeted, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you, not as the world gives, do I give to you. Do not let your hearts be troubled or afraid." John 14:27. And you had some journalists that responded to that. One girl, Jennifer, she tweets,
Jennifer Rubin.
Either he was hacked or he's totally lost it.
Washington Post.
Well, that's fine. I mean, I don't understand. I think the problem they have is in the bubble and the world they live in, it's all about Trump. It's all about the news. I try to. I can't say I do it every day. I try to every day. I sit down, and if I don't go to Mass, I try to read the Word. So if you read that, that was the gospel from yesterday's missal. And I'll do the same again today, especially if there's something in there that I think just spoke to me and I want to share with people on Twitter. If people don't like the Bible and they don't like the gospel, they don't have to follow me on Twitter, I suppose.
So
and then there's 31 Proverbs. So what I try to do every morning is so today I read the 17th proverb, the 17th chapter of Proverbs. And if there's something in there, I'll put it up on Twitter. And look, I don't know if people are offended or not. It's fine. But like I said, Twitter's a voluntary thing. If you don't like it, don't read it, or don't, unsubscribe from my Twitter feed.
Donald Trump just passed out when you said, "Now he's not going to read Twitter." People aren't going to read Twitter, so that would be a problem.
So, Senator, what you do? You've been posting Bible passages for a long time, and somebody yesterday thought, "Oh, he's got a prayer for Donald Trump," or something like that, and that prompted that.
Well, yeah, those words were written 2,000 years ago, so I doubt very much that they knew this was going to be going on today or yesterday when they were written. And
good point.
I just do that every morning. I put it up, and if you go back in my Twitter feed, you'll see multiple examples throughout the last months or so that I've done Proverbs and the like, and there was no hidden message behind it. It's just the gospel. And I think
it's great that you're doing the VA. You know, we follow, as I mentioned. Lastly, do you have any advice for the president? I know that you guys seem to be getting along much better now. You're in regular communication. Any advice for this White House?
In terms of, in general?
Yep.
Well, look, I mean, ultimately, I think systems are important, and so working out systems internally within the White House, there is a reason why. I mean, you don't have to be purely conventional, but there is a value to convention. You guys have a process to get ready for your program every morning. You have producers that get there very early. I'm sure they'll tell you they don't get paid enough money to get there that early, but they get there early, and they prepare the material for that day's show. Your technology people here show up early to set up their camera. There's reasons for these systems, and I think if the White House became more systematic in its approach to scheduling and messaging and the like, they would avoid some of the friction that you're now seeing. Some of the other issues are just a part of a political environment that we now live in. So it's like anything else, I don't agree with anyone 100%, and few people agree with me 100% on any given issue. If the president and I have a policy disagreement, you're going to know about it, and that's fair in a party as big, as broad as the Republican Party is. But ultimately, I want the president to succeed, because it's good for America if the president succeeds. When we agree, we're going to work together. When we don't, in our republic, I have a right to express my opinion, and we'll let the process work itself out.
Senator Rubio, thanks so much for your quality time this morning.
Thank you.